welcome and thank you to John Ross, who is going to be our interviewee tonight. And welcome, John.
Thank you.
No problem. So I suppose really the first question is how did you start in budgies?
I was about 7 years old, and my uncle used to live a few doors away, and he was a budgie breeder. And one day I was round at the house, and he lifted me up to look into a nest box, and there was an egg hatching, a chick hatching out, and I thought it was fascinating. And I was hooked from then on. And I got a pair from him to try and breed. They never bred. And I acquired some more from him, and he helped me build a shed, just a small shed. And I managed to breed 4 birds. I must have been about 8 years old by then.
Wow.
But the next time I had birds was 1980, when I really started in the birds, and built my first bird shed when I was 17.
Yeah, actually, we can probably have a look at that, can't we? If we go, let me just share, and then there we go.
Yeah,
I think that's your first one, isn't it?
yeah. It's
did you build?
Well,
Yeah. I mean, did you built it yourself from scratch? Did you, or was it just bought in sections?
No, I built it from scratch. It is
Yeah.
now my seed store.
Yeah, looks far too organised for a budgie man. Far too organised.
Yeah, everything's got a place.
That's right. That's right. And a good bit of storage at the back of it as well.
Yeah, it was 22 feet long by 9 feet wide when I first built it.
Yeah.
1980.
Wow. That's still going.
Needs a drop of paint now.
Yeah. Okay. Super. And had you in when that was it all about showbirds when you were 17, or more just breeding for fun?
Just breeding for fun, really.
Yeah.
I was fascinated when I saw the chick hatching out of the egg. I'd never ever seen nothing like that before. And
Yeah, I mean, you were.
from that
I was going to say you were lucky
day,
to see it at such a young age, weren't you? Because a lot of people don't.
yeah,
I mean, I've only ever seen it once or twice in my time. I've been 30 years. So yeah, fascinating.
but
Yeah,
it just sparks an interest. Well, it did within me,
yeah,
you know. And when I used to go back and forth to him and see the different feathers, the color coming onto the chicks, and I was hooked.
yeah. That still
I
gets
was
me even
hooked,
now.
and
Yeah,
yeah, the side of the fancy I do enjoy is the breeding and the expectation of what's going to come out of a nest box,
yeah,
whether it be good quality or not. When you see them coloring up, it's pretty good.
yeah. Okay, so where did I go? So this, I think this is your bird room now, is it?
Yeah, I made that door the other day. That's when I got a wee touch of sunstroke, all this hot weather.
Ah, yes. You said about that, didn't you?
Yeah,
Yeah. And this is a brick built bird room now, is it?
yeah. It used to be a greenhouse at one time because we had a garden centre, and when my father died, my mother wanted me to pull it down, and I says, "Well, I could build on it." That was always built in brick to where the black bricks are,
Oh yeah,
and then it was wooden obstacles with glass.
yeah,
But I
yeah,
pulled the whole thing down and rebuilt it as my new bird shed. Uh,
yeah.
and it was finished in 2009. And I had Pat and Gren Norris and Gallup and Janice up. They opened the shed for me at the
Oh,
time.
lovely. Yeah, I think we got some videos and things here coming up. So is this the baby cage or
Yeah, that's a nursery.
yeah,
We handle our birds quite a lot to whether some go for pets or for the show bench. I find with the nursery in the middle of the floor, walking round attending to all the cages really settles the birds all the time.
yeah, yeah. I must admit I have to agree with that.
Yeah.
So is this one of your flights?
Yeah, that's the big flight. I used to
Yeah,
have perching all along the back wall, but I took it out. I wanted to concentrate a bit more on the quality rather than breeding too many.
yeah, yeah. And what varieties do you keep mainly now?
I keep quite a lot of different varieties. We've tried different things like crests and the helicopters, but my wife takes fancies to things and then she lets them go. Oh, I'm not so happy with that now. I'll try something else. So
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I just go with the flow.
Yeah, yeah.
I do like dominant pieds, violets. I like the dark factor birds.
Yeah. Yeah, I think sometimes you need the dark factors as well, don't you, in breeding?
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, you know, you lose a bit of that intense color, even in your like your grey greens and your light greens and that. You still need to dip into the dark factors.
Exactly. Yeah.
I know we'll probably see them later on, but some of the pictures you've got on the wall, are they some of your older birds or birds that you've
That's
won
birds
with?
yeah, birds that we've done pretty well with. At the BS Club show, the Scottish show, the big show with SBS show. Um, it's all birds. Well, there's a double factor spangle there. He was a registered champion.
Ah, right.
Uh, most of the birds on the wall was just produced to put a bit of colour into the aviary
Yeah,
on the wall, you know.
yeah. How many breeding cages have you got?
Well, I shut everything down along the top and the bottom and made them into cupboards.
Yeah,
And I think I've got 18 now.
yeah. Just
But you,
enough.
yeah, I used to use 34, but as you get older, you get wiser and you cut down in the efforts, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's Norman Barrett, the circus
That's
ringmaster.
yeah. I remember I can't well, I say I remember, but I remember you talking about it,
Yeah,
but I couldn't remember where and whether it was an article. Was there an article in a magazine about it?
yeah,
Yeah, that's where I must have read it.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
He's a very nice guy. He lives in Blackpool, and he used to perform, well, all over the world.
yeah. Oh,
I've seen him phoning me from America and asking advice on a sick bird, and
blimey.
he got a convoy. He couldn't get to this vet after the show, and the American police gave him a convoy over the border to the nearest vet. It was funny.
Wow.
but he's
Yeah.
such a dedicated guy to his livestock, his birds.
Yeah.
And he's got many of our birds in his act in the circus. But he's retired now.
Yeah. Yeah. And you got obviously got a separate kitchen area of you and
Yeah,
show prep.
that's where the show prep happens, and they feed in the soft food, and my seeds kept in there, and all the different things.
Yeah.
You know, there's a picture there, George DePina from Brazil.
Yes. I thought I recognised him.
Yeah, we got him over to judge Aberdeen BS show and Scottish Northern BS show.
Yeah.
He came over a few times. Really nice guy, really good judge.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously that's the baby flight again.
Yeah, the nursery, yeah.
Yeah. In your cages. Another one, the flight. Yeah, good. Now I know when we've been sort of talking about preparing for this, I sort of asked you, did you do anything different to perhaps what mainstream people do? And I think we sort of landed on your soft food and the way you feed it, don't you? So we've got
Yeah,
some photographs of your feed. Um, there it is.
there's a dish with plain seed. Well, that's chick crumb,
Yeah,
one of the ingredients I use. That's the dry mix before I put in the carrot.
yeah.
I use sunflower hearts and classic Versalaga soft food.
Do you make, is that the base of
Yeah.
your mix?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the seed when topped up every morning. And on top of that, I take a handful. I don't feed soft food in finger drawers,
no,
which I've seen a lot of people do that over the years. But for me, I put the soft food right on top of the main dish. And the only other dishes in the cage are groats to the right and grit to the left.
right.
But I
Yeah,
put the soft food on top of that seed, and by the time the parents have eaten that, regurgitate to the babies, later on the day, they top them up with the seed.
yeah, yeah,
And I found this to be one of the most, well, the better way of feeding and chicks to be larger in the nest, I found.
yeah. I see you use the Just supplements as well, then.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think the only one I use of theirs at the moment is the Thrive and Gloss. Um,
yeah, that's quite good. And that's mung beans. I sprout mung beans.
right. I did wonder what they were. Thought you were
Yeah,
going to tell me there was some sort of strange pellet, but now that
no,
makes sense.
mung
Yeah.
beans. Yeah, and there's a sprouting seed also, a mix. That's Psalm 1 tonic that I feed.
Right. Is that got a smell to it? Has it got like
Aniseed.
aniseed? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Parsley.
yeah.
Now I've seen that one before. What is it? Is it
It's
a
it's a
probiotic?
no, well, it is and it isn't. It's full of minerals and um, trace elements that they give to horses.
Yeah.
But most things that are okay for horses are also good for birds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it's it's a conditioner, really. It's a bit like Fertivit in a way,
Yeah.
similar. But I add it to the soft food. That's another thing I add to the soft food, Japanese millet.
Oh, right. Oh, mine always looks quite grey. That looks quite brown.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, right. That's
But
strange.
I got that from Cook's, Donald Cook's, Rotherham, I think it is.
All right. Yeah.
They're the makers of EMP,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Donald Cook,
Yeah.
and garlic. I noticed a big difference in Pat and Gren Norris's birds when they use a lot of garlic through their soft food,
Right.
and they had some tremendous birds. Well, I've been a while since I've been there, but when I saw their youngsters and the smell of the soft food, I almost ate it myself.
Yeah, I must admit, I used to use I used to use garlic years ago because I was brought up with a pigeon man. My dad raised pigeons, so garlic was something. But I don't
Yeah,
know, I just sort of seemed to come away from it. I think I went through the phase of feeding an awful lot of stuff that just wasn't needed, and I've
yeah,
just slowly but surely cut out all the rubbish. And
yeah,
but even now, I'm convinced I'm overfeeding the soft food. I've had hens start laying again when the chicks are literally 3 weeks old. You
yeah,
know, so I'm going to sort of make an adjustment for next year. But
yeah,
oh, that's the sunflower hearts?
yeah. But I went and got that on recommendation, but that's why I put it through the soft food because they don't look at it the same if you put it in the big flights and trays.
Right.
They like to dehusk seed.
Yeah.
It's a natural thing they do.
Yeah. Funny enough, I sprout my sunflower hearts with a lot of other seeds.
Yeah,
And they're the first ones to sprout actually,
yeah,
because they're out of the husk.
yeah.
Um, they're sprouting within about 24 hours.
Oh, that's
You know,
interesting. I've never
yeah,
tried sprouting them.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I've got a big mix.
Uh-huh.
It's Johnson and Jeff sprouting mix plus most of the shelves of Tesco's and Morrison's.
Yeah,
All sorts of seeds in there. I forget half of them. There's all
yeah,
sorts, split peas and all sorts. But yeah, the sunflower hearts and there's never any left, so
yeah.
they do
I'll,
like them.
I'll try that. I've never tried sprouting them.
Yeah.
There's the carrot.
Now is that the dehydrated
Yeah,
one? And so do you? I mean, I don't. I've never used it, but when I went to see a fellow fancier a few years ago, he had it all soaking in this bowl, and there seemed to be this almost like scum on the surface. And I just wasn't sure what it was. I didn't actually ask him at the time, but do you find that it has that, or do you just keep rinsing it?
no, no, I fill it up in a measuring jug, three of that blue scoops, and I'll use 3/4 of the. I put the amount of water in so it soaks everything up and swells up.
Yeah.
There's no scum. Uh,
Oh,
and I use 3/4 of it to make up that mix, that dry into the dry mix. And the next day, just to give it that extra boost with the moisture, I use the other quarter in before I feed up the next day.
right. So do you tend to mix enough for 2 days then?
Yeah, two to
Yeah.
three days. Two
Yeah.
to 3 days. Depends on how much pair I've got of breeding.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's Murphy's black powder.
Yeah. Is that like charcoal and stuff like that?
Yeah, mineral.
Black, yeah, black minerals and that.
Yeah, that's bullfinch mix.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They
I've
tend
seen
to
that.
like that. I mix that like I had I was having a talk with Paul Stannard, and he mixes that with that new it's Fraser Boost.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I don't think it's as good as the other one. Um, oh, what do you call the other one? The red one. It's a bit
Oh,
Fraser form.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's one of the pigeon products, isn't it? The red one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I find if you feed too regular with the Fraser form, cockbirds will lock feet and fight.
Yeah.
Oh, terrible. It's like everything else, you can overdo it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's best budgie when I'm feeding at the moment. But in the winter, I tend to feed more millet and less canary
Yeah.
for the oil content and the fat content in the seed.
Yeah. Keep them warmer. Yeah.
Yeah,
I feed my millets separate to my canary, so they take what they want now.
yeah,
I just find I just get less wastage. So, but
yeah,
no.
that would be true.
Oh, and that's back to the dry mix, isn't it?
Yeah. No, that's the carrot going in.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's with the carrot through,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the damp mix now.
Yeah. And that's fed as it is now, is it in that bowl?
Yeah,
Right.
but that lasts about 2, 3 days.
Yeah. And
Uh,
I can say, is that your flights with?
yeah, drinking station down on the floor as well as up along beside the door,
Yeah.
either side of the door. But it one that's shallow trays, kitten litter trays. That's what we use.
Yeah.
It's just a nice depth, and that's a tonic in the pink one, groats in the blue one, and then after that is a mix, the bullfinch mix with the Fraser,
Yeah.
and
So you
then
can.
after that there's a tray of seed as well.
Ah, right. Oh, and that's your daily bowl you were
Yeah,
saying about. Yeah.
yeah. The breeding pairs get that every day.
Right. Oh, that's a
That
Fraser boost.
yeah, that's what we mix with the bullfinch mix.
Yeah. See that straight away. I think the first one is vitamin E,
Yeah,
and I always say the vitamin E is the one. Well, it's the one that's mostly in that Fertivit. And
yeah.
yeah, if you overdo that, it drives them crazy.
Oh, it puts them over the top without a
Yeah.
doubt.
Yeah. Yeah.
They turn into maniacs.
Yeah.
And
Obviously,
that's a sprouted seed.
right. Yeah. And do you add that? Do you soak the mung beans separate, or do you put it all
Yeah,
in together?
there is there is mung beans in that mix, but I like to feed like mung beans separate in a big tray in the big aviary in the big flight.
Right. Yeah.
But I do this one to put through the soft food. Not all the time, and I like to do it in the winter because they tend to really gorge themselves in the winter, and it puts weight on for the birds to keep warmth.
Yeah.
Now, that's dried eucalyptus.
Oh, right.
I grow a lot of eucalyptus tree, which is their natural nesting tree, and I dry it out and I put that through the soft food.
All right.
They absolutely love it. The smell of eucalyptus through it just drives them crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the Fraser form.
And that's just a dry feed, is it?
Yeah, I put that in finger drawers, but only once a week. I don't use
Right.
it excessively. I don't like to see them going over the top. That's a carrot when it swells up, the 3 scoops that
Oh,
I.
yeah. Yeah. It certainly looks cleaner than what I saw. So I don't
Yeah,
quite know what he had done to it, but I mean, I suppose it could have been that the water type makes a difference because we got quite hard water down here. So
Well, we've got the
Um,
best water in Scotland. Try the whiskey.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So when you're preparing your birds for breeding, do you have a sort of a start date in mind, or do you go with the birds?
No, I like to just study my birds and the aviary, and you can see them coming into condition different times, but they don't all come into condition at once. There's different pairs, and if I think they're compatible and it's what I'm looking for, to put size into a rare variety or whatever, I'll use what's available if they're compatible.
Right. And do you breed all year round as such, or
Yeah.
right? So you're just constantly looking for pairs that are ready to go down.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I do plan ahead with certain families.
Right. Yeah. And so I mean, you probably don't split hens and cocks then if you're breeding all year round.
No, I mix both in the big aviary
Yeah.
and hens all the time. The cockbirds tend to chase the hens about and keep them fitter that
Yeah.
way. Well, that's just my way of
Yeah.
thinking.
I mean, I only split mine for about 2 or 3 weeks just to break any bonds.
Yeah,
And they usually go straight down. They certainly did this year.
yeah,
But yeah, okay. And do you do any sort of treatments before you pair up?
yeah. Vitamins. One year that I had a really bad season, and the birds just weren't hatching out. Dead in shell, right across the board. And a very good friend of mine, he's passed away now, Basil Thomas, the cage
Yeah,
maker. He was a very good friend to me. He treated me like a son, and he says, I'll put you on to someone that'll let you know what's wrong. And this was Gerald Binks. So I phoned Gerald Binks, and he said it was the lack of vitamins. I hadn't been giving them enough vitamins through the water. What I was feeding, I thought they would have had plenty
yeah,
of nourishment. But he says sometimes it's not the case. If you do it through the water, because they all drink, they're guaranteed to get the vitamin needs that's sought after. So I did what he said and started at the start of the month, a whole week with vitamins, AV Gold Plus
oh yeah.
in the water. And it just turned everything around. The
And were you
happy,
still feeding the same
yeah.
as well as?
Well, I cut back. I didn't try and put any sort of vitamins through the feeding
Ah,
if they were
right.
in the water. I didn't want to put them over the top,
No.
which it's so easy to do with vitamins. But with Avi Gold Plus, it just turned my whole season round, which was it was really good advice. But he was a very knowledgeable guy, Gerald
Yeah,
Binks, very
yeah.
knowledgeable.
And have you now reverted back to nothing in the water, or
No, when I'm going to put them down to breed, a month before I start to put anything down, like if I'm pairing up a lot of cages, I'll start and introduce the vitamins to the water the month before I start to pair.
right? Yeah,
And I'll continue that all the way through the breeding. At the beginning of each month, the first week of each month, do the week of vitamins. Well, between, yeah, 5 days anyway.
right. Okay. Yeah, interesting. Because I must admit, hatching is one of my biggest problems. I seem to get a lot of addled eggs you know, early and late dead in jail, you know. So, but we've
Well,
never
that's
been.
exactly what was happening with me.
Yeah, yeah, might be worth a look.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we've got some bits and pieces here that
Probiotic, before and after they go to a show,
yeah,
Spark or Intravenous, they used to use that. It was, Brian Sweeten introduced me to that one. Very, very good. One of his mates that works in a lab developed it, and
yeah,
he said it was really good. 3 days before a show in the water, and 3 days after when they come back.
right.
The
Oh,
great
good.
Savalon.
Yeah,
For any cuts or if you've any cysts or anything, you squeeze them out, use that. It just prevents infection.
yeah,
Like Ivamec, once the whole flock every 6 months.
yeah, yeah. You've got to keep on top of the mite, haven't you?
Oh yeah.
Ronovet S and Triple C.
Yeah, I've used this for years before it even came to this country. I used to send to Australia.
Yeah,
Wagga Wagga Creek is where it came from. And everybody used to say to me, "What's that you're using, John?" I would say, "Oh, it's Wagga Wagga." I wouldn't say what it was, you see. Um, to start with, you needed a vet's license
ah,
to,
right.
use this way back. But sometimes it took a detour when it left Australia. One time it went to New York and then Hong Kong, and then it came to Aberdeenshire eventually.
Blimey, yeah.
Yeah, and it
And
was
it is the Triple C an antibiotic, isn't it?
yeah, a
Yeah. So
broad spectrum antibiotic. It deals with a lot of different issues,
yeah,
ailments, you know.
worth having in the cabinet.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, the hand rearing food.
Yeah.
And do you? I mean, do you try and save every bird, or you know?
If possible, if
Yeah,
possible. Um, especially if it's off of good pairs, but it doesn't matter whether they're good or not. If I've a
yeah,
problem bird and I've nowhere to put them, sometimes it's just good to top them up at night, and in the morning they come around to feeding again. Sometimes you'll get the odd hen, for some reason, won't feed one in a nest.
yeah,
Um, I've had that a few times and I've topped them up, but by maybe 2 days later, she starts feeding it again as it's starting to develop a bit.
yeah.
Think, and the
Good old.
Johnson baby shampoo, that's part of the showing arsenal.
Yeah, yeah. I've been spraying a few of mine with a little bit of that in the water.
Yeah,
Do a bit of head cleaning soon.
yeah. There's the kit.
Oh yeah, the good old shaving brush.
Yeah, the one with the less hair in it was my grandfather's. That's real horse hair.
Ah, right.
Uh,
Yeah,
Toothbrushes just to get the dirt out of the heads and round about the beak.
yeah.
Uh, I
Do you
also use the tweezers and the junior hacksaw blade for taking sheaths off the head. It's really good.
yeah, yeah, yeah. For those that are wondering, the hacksaw blade is just used to lightly rub
Yeah,
the sheaths off of pin feathers, but only when they're dry and not pink.
yeah. If they'll come up pink, you're just going to make a mess of it.
You are, yeah, but yeah, because some of our members will go hacksaw blade, but yeah, that's what it's used for, just to loosen the sheaths.
Yeah.
And I mean, do you enjoy the show prep and the shows?
Yes, I do. I make a point at doing as much effort working up towards a show as I can.
Yeah,
Um, and it does make a lot of difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can take a mediocre bird and turn it into a fantastic bird if you're skilled enough.
Yeah. Yeah. I
It's just practice, really.
It is. It is. And I think things like spotting out and that, I've just done a video for the YouTube channel, and it's
Yeah,
probably been the most watched in a short space of time of
yeah,
all of our videos, all of that we've done. And I think practicing throughout the winter months, just picking out birds in the flight that are resting, and
yeah.
having a go, and it really does make a lot of difference.
That's the way to do it. To just do it all year round. Pick out a bird and have a
Yeah,
go. I,
exactly.
I still have to do de-spotting for a lot of my mates. It's in the birds.
Yeah.
And some of them are champions, and they still come. Oh, John, you're good at it. Go. I says, but you'll get good at it if you keep having a go. But
That's right. Yeah.
no,
And the easy bed, is that used in all your flights?
yeah, and the cages.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
I find it the best. Sawdust's in the nest box, but easy bed is nice and it's weighted. It
Yeah.
doesn't fly about like sawdust in the flight or the breeding cage.
That's right. Yeah.
If the material's too light, it just takes off.
Yeah. That's your kit again
Yeah.
in your
That's
showcases.
show cages, Basil Thomas show cages, deluxe ones. That's what I use.
Yeah. Not gone over to the plastic.
No, I haven't actually seen a plastic one yet.
No. No. It's supposed to be maintenance free, but
Well, I
I know.
can't. I did see someone mentioning when they put it in the dishwasher, the glue came out like chewing gum.
Oh no. Oh my God. That's no good.
I can't remember who it was. Someone said that, and I thought, well, I'll just stick to the all tried and tested glue.
Yeah. Definitely. Oh, that was your picture of South African, wasn't it again?
George DePina.
Yeah.
There's a Baytrol.
Oh, sorry, hit the wrong button.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bay,
And
um,
and obviously you're only using that when you've got a problem, do you? You don't.
yeah. If I've got a bird that's a bit soft or fluffed up, I'll separate it, put it into a single cage. Or if there's two or three, they all go into the same cage with a course of Baytril in the drinkers, three
Yeah.
drops into a drinker. But I also put it with a crop needle into the crop
Yeah.
before we put them into the cage, just to make sure they've got a start with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And a respiratory spray
Uh,
eucalyptus.
that's brilliant.
Yeah. That's
Uh,
not been out very long, has it? Or is it?
no, if you give a spray in your aviary, you'll notice the birds start treading all over the place.
Oh, right.
It spurs them on. And if I give myself a spray, I chase the wife round the greenhouse.
Superb.
It's good stuff, Tony.
Yeah.
Now, Sinular, not the cream, the gel. I was given this by an older breeder long time ago for eye infections.
Ah, right.
The best thing out. It's actually for dermatitis or skin disorders in humans. You put it in the bird's eye and it's gone by the next day, the infection.
Blimey. Obviously, a
It's
good active ingredient.
a steroid. That's
Yeah.
what, but not the cream, the gel. It has to be the gel.
Right. Ah, nest boxes.
Yeah, make all my nest boxes off of the Basil Thomas original design of Gerald Biggs box in a box.
Yeah. I
And
think
you
that's
can,
I think it's a universal type of nest box for budgie breeders now, in it box in a box.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
And
much better.
I prefer my boxes outside the cage. There's more room for the birds and the
Yeah.
young inside.
That's a slightly different type though.
Yeah, that's an outside nest box. I do a little bit of carving as well
Yeah.
on the side, so that's for the wild birds.
Yeah, lovely.
I just thought it was something different to add.
Yeah. Yeah.
Scottish Breeder of the Year a few times.
Yeah. Right. That's those.
I think that was when I was in partnership with Ronnie Macaulay in Ireland.
Oh yeah.
And we swapped a lot of Ken Fagan lines,
Yeah.
bloodline.
Yeah. That's good. It's good. So I think now we've got a folder of just literally lots and lots of birds. So I don't know, you would talk us through them as we go.
Yeah, that's a young cinnamon hen that's in the nest at the moment. I took that picture this morning. The mother actually got best young bird opposite sex at Edinburgh last year.
Right.
I only managed 2 shows last year because I had to go in for a hernia operation. So
All right.
I got 2 shows in and got best young bird at both shows. Tayside, Dundee, and Edinburgh, the big show in Edinburgh.
That's good.
But
Yeah.
that's a nice young grey green. There's some cinnamons in there as well. Look quite promising.
Yeah. And that's this year's, is it?
Yeah,
Yeah. 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 I like a good grey green.
yeah.
Can't beat them.
Well, that was a grey green. It did me well. That was direct Ken Fagan bloodline that came out of.
Yeah. What year would that have been about?
Oh, I can't remember. It was a few years back.
Yeah. Because it's funny because are you in that bird that you've got the black line in the actual quill of the feather rather than what we class as flecking in the feather? And
Yeah,
I thought it was something fairly new, but when I saw this photo, I did wonder how far back it went to
yeah.
when that fault sort of appeared. Because it's driving me crazy. I can't seem to get rid of it.
Well, it's funny you should say that. That bird had it, but it wasn't on the feather, it was on the stem.
Yeah, that's right, on the quill of the feather.
Yeah, after 2 years, it lost it completely.
Wow, blimey.
But it took up to about 18 months anyway before it disappeared.
How
But
bizarre.
it was just in that line of birds.
Yeah, yeah. Because my original ones that started to show it came from two clean birds that had a clean background. So
Yeah, yeah,
it was really strange.
yeah. It's funny you should say that because that was the same. Now, this is 2 youngsters this year, and that cobalt comes out of that same family line as that grey green which I spoke about.
All right.
Clean as a whistle,
Yeah, yeah,
you know. The yellow face is a good bit younger. This
yeah,
is another. This is more like a dark green. This one. This is in an S box today,
yeah.
and that cinnamon grey is the one I had in my hand.
Oh, yeah. And are they nest mates, are they?
No, no,
No.
they're both fostered because the mum had 9 eggs, nine
Oh,
full eggs.
that's good
I
going.
tend to get quite big clutches. I've another one at the moment. It had 10 eggs, so I've had to foster.
Wow. And how do you find fostering? Which way do you do it, or do you just sort of go with the flow? Because I find if I move eggs, I
Yeah.
either lose track of where's because I breed mainly normals. I haven't got things like red eyes to move them to. So I tend to try and wait until I've rung a chick and then move the chick. I just
Yeah,
wondered how you did it.
I do that as well, but I also take a marker and mark the eggs, and I foster them out. Um, I mark them at both ends. A lot of people don't do that, but I do. Mark them at both ends with a number from the cage that they came from. And when they hatch out, you're going to get one of the ends in the shell, if it's not eaten, that is, which is very
Ah,
seldom. And I mark it to that chick. And
right,
I can take a permanent marker and mark the leg of the chick before it's rung.
right.
And then when it comes to ringing, oh, it's got a bit of a green leg, this permanent
Yeah,
marker, but it doesn't usually come off. But I know it's from the foster parent. It's from
yeah.
it's one it's fostered.
I like the idea of the what's name on the end of the egg. That's got a good idea. I might nick that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So every day's a school day, look.
of course it is. Now there's a young spangle that's in the box at the moment. It's funny
Yeah.
because Ronnie McCauley put a grey spangle cockbird into the BS Club show, and I couldn't manage last year, because of my operation for my hernia. So he says, "Oh, it's off of Ian Ainley stuff," and I've got a lot of Ainley birds in the background of my birds. And I said, "Right, I'll take a bid on it." So one of the Aberdeen guys was down, so I phoned him. He says, "What will I?" says, "Just keep your hand up." So nobody else bidded, and I got it for £100, and it's producing some super youngsters at the moment.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
it's got a quite a dark shade. Is that a hen or a cock, do you think?
I think it's a hen.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I don't know about you, whether it's different up your part, but I think we seem to be breeding a lot of hens
Yeah,
with pink seers at the
yeah,
moment. And you look at I've done it. I've looked at them and gone, oh yeah, that's a cockbird.
yeah,
And then all of a sudden you look at your record and go, well, it's not, it's a hen.
yeah.
And
It changes. Yeah,
yeah, but normally they're very rarely pink, are they? For a hen, they're usually this dark color
yeah.
or pale. But I just think with the way we've bred birds, I think it's
I
just
think,
changed the way.
like you're saying, there's more feather in the bird nowadays, and the genetic side of things. But before, you could look at a hen, even though it was pinky to start with, you always used to get the white in the
Yeah,
nostril.
yeah,
But sometimes you haven't got that at all now. Like
no,
you're,
yeah,
so it's not a definite indication.
no, that's right. I think is that the same cobalt?
No, it's
Oh,
a
different one.
violet. That's an Ian
Oh, a
Ainley,
violet.
Ian Ainley wrong bad, and that's one of its youngsters next to it.
Yeah,
But some of that other cinnamons and grey green, they're fostered in there because the other cockbird was a dark green Ian Ainley bird, but that's one it had 10, so I had to foster.
right,
Uh, Now that cinnamon grey hen I had in my hand, it was fostered. This is the parent.
right,
That's the grey cinnamon hen that I got best young bird opposite sex at Edinburgh, and that's a young grey cockbird just came out of the box
yeah.
today.
It looks like it's gonna have a nice top end.
Yeah, it's got a lovely face.
Yeah, yeah, it does, isn't it?
That's some of our winners.
That
Uh,
grey is stunning. I love that grey.
yeah, he's a nice bird.
Yeah, the
He
yellow
did a
face is nice.
lot of winning. The yellow face, he won best young bird in show and best in show all over Scotland. That the yellow face.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful. I mean, even the grey's got almost round spots as well, isn't he?
Yeah,
Not far off.
that
Yeah.
the grandparents of that grey go back to Joe Mans in Germany.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Joe Manus.
yeah. Oh, that was the same hen, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, That's this year's young light green, but a wee bit of ticking in the head, but
Yeah.
it's split recessive pied.
Oh, right.
So I think it'll be useful for the recessive side of things.
Yeah. Yeah. Looks a good big bird. So,
Yeah, he's a handful.
yeah.
There's four of them.
All right.
Now, best young bird in show last year twice is the sky blue furthest away.
All right.
And the sky blue at this side, the right, I think that's them. Aye, that's a youngster. The young one this year is that's the ones I put on the Facebook the other day, and his
Oh,
head's
yeah.
shoulders above the other one.
Yeah.
From that's that baby again.
Yeah. Yeah. It's nice, isn't it? Got nice dense capping.
Yeah,
Oh, some pieds.
yeah. Three pieds and two normals in that nest.
Yeah. Few more of your pictures.
Yeah, the sink area and the flight again.
Well, there's that spangle.
Yeah, it's quite a handful.
Yeah, looks it.
There's the father of the pieds.
Oh, yeah.
He's
Did you?
only spotted at one side.
Yeah, there's a lot of pieds that are like that, aren't they? You know,
Yeah,
you either get nicely fully spotted, half a face, or no spots really. I've
yeah,
never had. It's the one mutation that I just have had no luck with. I've either bought in pieds and they've not produced or died,
yeah,
or when I did get one to reproduce, they were just so poor I couldn't even keep them. You know.
yeah. Funny,
So
Ronnie McCauley in Ireland's the same. He always says to me, I'm going to send all these pieds to you, Jock, because they won't do nothing for me.
yeah,
He's had birds, I mean, super birds. And he says, won't even look at a hen. I can't get it to breed. And he sent them to me, and I couldn't stop them from breeding.
wow,
So
just
whether
shows,
it's a
isn't it?
different feeding regime or what, I don't know.
No, it's
Or
that
maybe
Scottish. I was
just
gonna say it's
the
the Scottish air.
yeah, it's the haggis. That's what it is.
Yeah, the secret ingredient.
Yeah. There's a young grey green hen just come out the box today.
Yeah.
Pretty long in the body. That's the mother again, the one that won at Edinburgh, a young bird, opposite sex last year.
Oh yeah.
There's a spangle, and the other three, well, there's three of them there. They're double. Two of them is double factor white with yellow face.
Oh yeah.
But the grey one, he's super. That's
Yeah.
what's been fostered in there. The grey green and the cinnamon in the middle. I think they'll be pretty useful birds.
Yeah. Yeah. Got a nice face again, bit of directional feather, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
There's a pied, a young pied, and another young blue from this year.
Yeah.
Picture from the end of the nursery. Oh, that was a good youngster that I bred. That was last year, I think.
Has he produced for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Certainly got some blow.
Oh, yeah. He was very good. That's another one. Split recessive pied.
Ah, very nice.
Cinnamon, light green hen.
Very
Of a yellow face.
very long feather.
Yeah, but it's also got one of the babies in the nest was a long flight, which I was surprised. Because the father and mother, they're not long flights, and I haven't had a lot of them through my aviary. The other cinnamons, it's being produced in blue and light green also, normal birds, but that's the only one. It has that long tail and the long flights.
Yeah.
It's,
Will you use it?
I will experiment with it, but I'm not a keen, what should I say?
No.
I'm not keen in putting them through a lot of my birds.
No. No, because I think like what you've just said, haven't you? Obviously, it was you're one of those birds, or both the parents were split for it. They were
Yeah,
carrying it somewhere, weren't they? So
must have been, must
yeah,
have been.
that's right. That's right. I mean, I've never bought a long flight, and I've got some. I've let most of them go, but and just
Yeah,
kept. I had one, a sky blue. He was more. We used to call him the cockatiel. He was enormous.
yeah,
And I have used him. I've just lost him actually. I found him in the flight dead.
yeah.
But his chicks he produced weren't that brilliant, you know.
No,
Then and they probably won't make the breeding team, which is good because again they're bound to be split for it. So
yeah.
you know, but I think that's the
And
problem. I think people tend to keep breeding with the birds. Try and even if you try and pull them back, which a lot of people do,
yeah,
you're still breeding splits.
yeah.
You know?
It could be 5, 10 years down the road. They're still going to come out.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, uh, we were speaking about that grey from last year. That's
yeah.
one of that's one of his sons.
Oh, taking his dad's top end, didn't he?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
this year's baby.
lovely.
I like the
Yeah,
style of that type of bird.
yeah,
Oh, and there's his sister.
yeah. Do you have you got a family of very blowy birds, or
Yeah,
do you know, and you just try and spread it across all your lines?
yeah. I bred him through all the different families that I have, and it's mostly came from the Ken Fagan birds.
Yeah, yeah,
He had terrific. I would still say to this day, when I visited Ken Fagan, it was one of the best studs of birds I'd ever seen. Even to this day, the
yeah. Was it?
quality and numbers was phenomenal.
Yeah, the depth of quality is what you're looking for, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah. Is that
that's
another?
an auntie.
Yeah,
Oh, that's a young Latino this year. Cockbird was split. Opaline grey green, split Latino. Dave Tutty wrong. And the hen was a good friend of mine's, Billy Allen from Alloa, Ayrshire.
yeah. And I mean, do you set out to breed lutes or?
Well, we used to breed them years ago, and we just sometimes your birds take you in a different direction.
Yeah,
And they just phased out, and I thought, well, it's time to have some more Latinos again and break up the colour in the aviary. So I got Latinos from Billy, and I got the split uh, from Dave Tutty when myself and Ronnie went halves on the stud. When
right.
we got Dave Tutty's, he had some super bats.
Yeah,
And this is the first year back breeding Latinos, so I think we're on the right track.
yeah, yeah. Look to have
Oh,
good color as well.
oh yeah, terrific colour.
Yeah. I mean, I've been told the Lutinos of old used to be orange, but I, you know, can't
Hot,
say I've ever seen that.
no, hot orange, they used to call them
Yeah,
in the days of Kirby Mason.
right.
Now, the last year's winner, Best Young Bird and Show, that's him on the left, and that's the one on the right is this year's youngster.
Yeah. Step on
So,
again.
yeah, I think we've made a good improvement in size again, so I'm
Yeah,
quite happy.
yeah.
That's a violet out of the Ian Ainley violet from earlier.
Oh yeah, yeah, I got very similar sort of shape, hasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's got the same shape as the dad, right?
yeah.
That's a young cinnamon hen.
God,
That's
but
out of the, that's still our Fagan line.
mm, very useful.
Styly, stands well for a hen.
Yeah, yeah. Do you find you? I mean, they used to call them cocky hens, didn't they? Do you
Yeah,
find they're a problem in the breeding cage?
not at all.
No.
I think that's just a myth, really.
Yeah, I'd rather breed with a hen like that than some of the bigger, stockier hens. I mean, I've got one, a light green, and a friend of mine was going to take it, and I never even thought about pairing her up because she was a bit fleck for me.
Yeah,
And I'm pretty sure now she's gone. She's that sort of type of bird that she's probably gone past the best now.
yeah,
But he went in a slightly different direction. In the end, he didn't need her. I mean, I've got some refit to do in the bird room, so I might try them if they come fit, sort of October time. I might try them then, but I'm
yeah.
not in any hurry. So
Don't you find like buffy hens? I find if you don't breed them before a year old, you miss them.
yeah,
You can't seem to get them going.
no, no. I think they get that little bit of lazy, little bit of more weight on them.
Yeah, exactly.
You want them in their puppy fat stage, really, don't you?
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
But I mean, I had two sisters, um, and I tried one sort of early. She was probably only about 7 months old.
Uh,
Got a couple of chicks off of her, and her sister just never seemed to get through the molt. And then all of a sudden she did, and she was probably 13 months old.
uh,
And she went on to lay. She wouldn't rear, and then I found her dead in the box. So it
yeah,
was like, well, I really, looking back, I knew something wasn't quite right with her. So perhaps I should have just not tried her. But they say
yeah,
you live and learn. But I don't like to lose any birds really. And I think next time, I would probably just step back and say it's a buffy bird. Is it really worth trying?
yeah.
But yeah.
There's a young yellow face this year, but the feather a bit too long, I would
I'm
say.
going to say the depth of mask, it screams long feather, doesn't it? But yet it must be long and wide because you've still got a roundish wide spot on, haven't you?
Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
know, um, yeah,
It's a cross between a Fagan bird to a Manus bird, but a lot of Ken Fagan's birds were Manus birds,
right,
So it was just something I tried this year. A cinnamon yellowface. He's a nice young cockbird, but his feathers seem to, if he's in a cage lying on the floor, when you take him out for a photo, the feathers seem to be like, like a clip.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It wouldn't be easy to get into real condition for showing, I would think.
No, no. Was that the father and son again?
Yeah, the one on the left's a winner from last year, but you can see
Yeah,
the height from the sun.
yeah, yeah. He's almost Dad. You almost sometimes he looks cobby, doesn't he?
Yeah,
No, and definitely sat next to Son. It's you've really pushed it on lengthwise.
yeah. I thought that even when he won last year, he was short when you see him, but in a show cage, everything seemed to be in balance with him.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah,
That's a nice youngster from this year.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That will be useful, won't it?
Yeah, really stylish, that one.
Yeah.
Well,
Cool.
that's yellow face sky.
Yeah. And do you reckon is it a youngster? Is it?
No, no.
No. And is it always gappy in the
He
head?
was a youngster there. That's a photo from last year.
Yeah. And is he still got all that gaps in the feather on the cap?
No, he did fill out.
Uh,
Actually, I lost him only last week. Now,
oh, right.
this is the father of that cinnamon light green hen we were speaking about with the long tail.
Ah, yeah, yeah,
But he was a super bird when he came out in the nest, you know.
yeah, yeah. No, I got a light green that just will not, the cap just will not fill in. It is just gappy. And I don't know, I haven't used him yet. I think he's last year. Um, I was going to show him, but because I thought, oh, perhaps it'll correct itself, when I'm spraying, but I don't think it's going to. I think it's just a
But
gappy bird.
sometimes it happens when they're too long, the feathers too long.
Yeah, yeah. He hasn't got a skirt or anything, but yeah, he is quite long in the cap. So
Yeah, yeah. This was a nice yellow-faced violet.
mm. Looks like that'll have a good mask as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I put that over to Ronnie in Ireland. I don't know how it's turned out.
Oh, right. You have to get some photos. Need an update.
Yeah, that was a really nice hen. You can see how young that hen is. See how white the cere is.
Yeah. That's how they used to come out the nest box, wasn't it?
That's
None of
right.
this flipping pink stuff.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good old traditional color.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Here's father and son now in the
yeah,
video. The son's getting a bit boisterous with him.
yeah. He's standing up for himself though.
Oh yeah, he's going to be a big lad when he matures.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Now, believe it or not, that is a false sister to the grey spangle that's in the nest with the double factors.
yeah.
It came out of the same pair.
But how different can they be?
I know, because that to me, well, I would say it was a golden face. But the hen, I know she's a yellow faced spangle. Well, I thought she was a yellow faced spangle. I never thought about looking under the wing to see if she is a golden face.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's certainly got a bright face, isn't it? Really
Yeah,
wide mask.
yeah. Buttercup. She's pretty young there.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh,
no, that's this year's cobalt, young cobalt. It was in the cage next to the yellow face.
oh yeah. Yeah, that is got
Real,
some length, isn't it?
yeah, long feather, depth of masks there, but he's a right handful in your hand.
Yeah, yeah. Brilliant. Right. That's all the photographs we've got.
Okay.
So yeah, so where do you think you're going next for the future? What how do you want to, or how do you see your change in your birds?
Uh, I'm not very sure. I like dark factors. I want to try and breed some more dark green, some olives if possible. Um, I really want to improve on the Latino, which I think we've started off again pretty well. So hopefully it'll continue with the quality.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's good. And do you bring many outcrosses in each year?
I don't really need to do that. I do take in one or two if the opportunity arises of quality, but I've got about five different families there I can work from.
Right.
I've always run five different lines,
Yeah.
so you never stick for an outcross because sometimes it's just not available.
No, no. I must admit, I found it very, very difficult to buy birds in now. I'm hoping to do a few swaps because, you know, the money's just not there to buy
No.
a super bird, and I wouldn't want to risk a lot of money on a bird, So
Sometimes, Neil, the prices are ridiculous nowadays.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's not, when it comes to that, it's not a hobby.
No, no, that's right. I think that's where I went wrong as a beginner because I wasn't winning. I then went and spent silly money that I really couldn't afford.
Yeah,
Got even worse results because those birds, they never gelled. They weren't used to my systems.
yeah.
Um, and it ended up a disaster, and I gave up. Not for very long because I missed it so badly.
Well,
But
it's an expensive learning curve.
Oh, it is. It is. Yeah. They always say you've got to have that eye, haven't you? And
Yeah,
sometimes you can teach it, but a lot of times you can't.
no,
You've either got it or you haven't.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So,
that's very true. I've traveled a lot in my younger days, and like you said, it's good to you can take something from every single aviary you visit.
yeah.
There's always an idea or something you can take away. You don't have to take away a bat,
No, no, that's right.
but you can
No,
take ideas and incorporate them into your own aviary.
that's it. Well, I should be marking the end of the egg with the cage number.
Well, you have it.
So that's the one from today. But
Yeah,
no, you're right. I mean, I haven't travelled, I haven't done the loot off and all of those, and I'm not sure I will. But um, I just want to work with people that I can trust, and
yeah,
and hopefully do some swaps. I mean, my best swap was with David Wone. I bred some dilutes, which he could, he really wanted, he could make the use of, and at the time I just didn't want a shed full of dilutes.
yeah.
Um, and the birds I shot with him did move me forward. So, it was the right thing to do.
Well, that possibly could have came down from our aviary
Ah, right.
because we let Rick Watts have 5 dilutes, and they were bred from. Well, when I got them, they were bred from Gary Shepherdson's birds,
Oh, yeah.
and I think Rick swapped a few with Dave Warren.
Ah, right. Yeah,
Dave
because he
Warren,
already had some dilutes, but my
yeah,
dilutes came from, if I remember rightly, crossing David Wone and Roy Applin blood, and I
yeah,
bred these grey green dilutes, yellows. Um, And yeah. And funny enough, David went and bred a very, very good clear wing out of the pair, which did more winning than most of, for the shows. So
I saw that bird. It was very nice.
yeah,
Very,
yeah, well that was directly off. I think it was the cockbird that he had from me, which we didn't know that they were it was split clear wing at all.
yeah,
And then it turned out a lot of my dilutes were actually cinnamon as well. So because I get the way they were breeding, but
yeah,
like the visual dilutes in my shed actually fizzled out, but the splits are what I'm using now, and I've
yeah.
bred my first ever grey white this year, or blue white, sorry, blue white.
That's
Um,
good.
but yeah, so I might put the pair back together. It's quite a nice chick. I don't know whether it'll fit in with the breeding team next year, but because I'm almost finished doing the renovations, I've been doing a bit each year. I may have a chance to have a project on the go, so which will be
Yeah,
quite
yeah.
nice.
Uh-huh.
So
You can have
yeah,
split birds in your aviary for years and breed them down the line, and then all of a sudden something comes out that you didn't know was there in the background, and that's the
yeah,
beauty of the breeding.
yeah, yeah. Well, funny enough, I've had birds before with the recessive pied feather on the back
Yeah,
of the head. I actually think I might even have a spangle now. I'm not convinced, but we'll see.
yeah,
But I've never bred a recessive pied, but I've had them with that feather. in them.
It's funny you should say that. I've got a lot of them this year with the one single feather
Yeah,
back of the head.
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
And one of them's a spangle as well.
yeah, yeah. We saw that one in the nest box, didn't we?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think it's been brilliant, and we've chatted
ah,
for a while.
I've
And
thoroughly enjoyed it.
good. And we'll have to keep in touch, and you have to give us some updates at some point.
Yeah,
And
I
yeah,
will.
yeah. Well, thank you very much.
No,
And
thank you. It's been
and
great.
yeah, great to meet you face to face, as they say.
Yeah,
And got some lovely birds. So
thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you
Thank
very
you very much.
much.
Yeah.